I think if it wasn't for your guidance as well, I wouldn't have been as open, because like you said, you're not coming from a fear base. You're coming from love, compassion. Like, I could feel that. And that's when I was like, okay, I feel safe. And then I remember we were just casually talking towards the end.
Right now, at this time in humanity, it is extremely important that we come from our authentic self, because otherwise we can't change the world.
I know I'm about to go into like a deeper change. I don't know how, I don't know why, I don't know when.
I'm chills.
But I know it's happening. I'm like, I don't know when, but I can't help but feel stuck. I always get this feeling before something major happens. Every time I kid you not, every time I feel like I'm stuck, for whatever reason, I just end up at crystal shops. I swear.
That's great.
Two ladies come up to us, the two workers. And they're like, hey, just so you know, we have a reader. And then she's like, I'm not trying to persuade you guys. She's like,
she's great.
She's like, she's the best reader I've ever had. She's like, and I've gotten so many readings. And I was like, And part of me was skeptical, because I'm like I've gotten a reading before, but I can intuitively tell if like they're being genuine with me, right? And so I was like, I don't know. And then I was like, no, like, she's really great. And I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna buy the 15-minute session, like, might as well. And then the lady's like, okay, I'll put you in line. And I remember sitting there and I was like, whatever. Like, at this point I'm already sitting here. So
have you ever had a reading done before?
Never. Like, I've never paid for reading.
Wow.
Never. Because like,
I didn't know that.
Vulnerability is something that I just don't like. I guess the way I see it is, I don't want to give my energy to the wrong person.
Of course.
You know?
And you have to feel safe, because it's not me or the reader doing the reading. It's actually your spirit guide and all the beings that love you. You know, the spiritual beings that love you. They're there and they're surrounding you with love. And once you feel that, then it's like, okay, this is legit, right? Whereas, like, I feel like readers who don't connect with your, or the person that's being read, their team, or whatever you want to call it, I feel like they're not honoring, you know, they're doing it from the human side. And that's where you can get, like, I'm sure they're very intuitive, I'm sure they're very smart, otherwise they wouldn't be doing it and people wouldn't be paying them. But there is a huge difference in which there is like this authenticity, or even clarity is the best way. Like, if that person is clear, then they get out of the way, their ego gets out of the way. Like, Janice doesn't read for you, it's actually your spirit guide and angels, or whoever it is that came to talk to you. Your connection with source.
Interesting.
Yeah, so for people who are interested in getting a reading, I always tell them, number one, you want to have, it should feel good, because when you're vibrating at the energy of love, joy, and clarity, it just feels right. So that's another thing. And if it's if you're sitting there like fear-based, that person that's reading for you, they should know that, and they should help you ground, or whatever it is you need. Because your spirit guide will tells me all the time, they have a lot of anxiety, could you please quell that? And then we do that together, right? So then also, if you're not in if you're fear-based in the session, your heart is already closed. So you're not going to get any of the messages, any of the information that your spirit guide wants to tell you. So those are the key points. And then the other one is like, you know, do you feel safe? And does it feel right? Does it resonate deeply within you that this feels right? Even if you question it or they're not sure, but those are key. Yeah. I'm really glad that you did that. I'm really glad that you took a risk, and that I was the first person that, you know, you took a chance on reading for. And wow.
So I think it's funny, because I was kind of on the brim of like doubting myself and like turning around, but then everybody was like, no, like, where do you think you're going? Like, come on, you know, you're supposed to be here. So that was very powerful to me, because like, I think if you enclose yourself based off of your past experiences, you're not going to let yourself get the chance, right?
Correct. And also, just in general, your experience reflects what's inside you. So if you feel fear-based and like this is going to be a bad experience, that's what you're going to get. And the best way to like solve that, if you want to change it, is to be like, please help me to open my heart to the truth, you know? And then you have to ask for help, because sometimes what we've been doing for years doesn't work, you know? So, and we have free will, our spirit guide and God and all that exists in the spirit world, like they don't impose any choices or decisions on us. Like we have to ask, we have to say, please help me. And I do that every day, every time I'm going to enter something like that's really important like this. I say, please, I choose the highest and most aligned version of this experience, and for everyone involved, right? So it's for you, me, and our cameraman. If you live your life from that place of wanting the best for yourself and everyone, you're going to get that. It's going to happen.
Letting go.
Yeah.
Not having so much control over something you're trying, because at that point you're like, okay, well, I let it go. Whatever happens, I know it's going to be in the best and most aligned version. Yeah. Exactly. I've been practicing that.
Yay!
And it works.
It does,
it works.
Right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So I agree 1000%.
That's awesome.
And then you called on so many points that I knew of in my head. I had never told anybody. And it was brought to light for me, right? Like forgiveness with family and support, all of that. I was like, wow, like I've thought about it, but I've never like have had it brought forward to me directly.
To bring it to your consciousness. Yeah. And that's basically like a good healer, reader, practitioner, whatever you want to call it. Like that's how you know they're good or genuine or connected, is they're able to like help you look at difficult things in a very loving way. That's a craft. It's a, you know, a skill.
Yeah.
And I've been doing this for a long time. And also I've done a lot of work myself where I used to have a practice in San Diego and Orange County, and I had to close my practice because I was still very much in my ego form when I was doing that work.
Wow.
Yeah, and spirit like put me in check and was like, listen, you're, you know, you still need a little bit more work inside, internally, before this can really build and grow. So let's do that, you know? And then I was called to move to San Francisco and help small businesses. And that really helped me grow as a person.
Wow.
Yes, but I do feel that it's time, and I do feel like I'm in a different place. I'm no longer looking for approval or validation from any of my work. It's simply because I want to help people. And right now, at this time in humanity, it is extremely important that we come from our authentic self, because otherwise we can't change the world. You know, if we continue to go around lying to ourselves or hiding from ourselves, or not being true to ourselves or abandoning ourselves, that's what we've been doing for the last millennia. Like, look, we're in a mess.
Yeah.
You know, I want to help as many people as possible to step into their authentic self, to like give them the courage to do that. And I'm so happy that I met you, and you're giving me the opportunity to help you, because I know that in the future you're going to help a lot of people. Yes. Anything else you want to say about that before we move on to your exercise I gave you?
This is just the beginning.
I love it.
A lot of crazy things, guys. A lot of crazy things.
That's funny, because I got a fortune cookie like 6 months ago before I moved to LA, and it said exactly that. This is just the beginning.
Really?
Yeah. Or it said, what if this is the beginning?
Oh.
Which is totally on point.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, I think it's very, very powerful understanding the purpose, like your purpose, because even reading the book Power versus Force have been like explaining to me why we shouldn't judge people, because people don't know what they don't know. You know, they do their best, and we're all interconnected. So why not help each other out, right? So I love that. That's all I had to say.
Yeah, and I want to add to that, because if you are aligned as a human being, if you are operating from your highest, most authentic place, and you walk into a restaurant, you don't even have to say anything. Just you being connected will help everyone in the restaurant. Because before you arrived, they didn't know that vibration existed.
Yeah.
They didn't know they had a choice to be happy and joyful and, you know, and operate that high. They didn't know. But now you've given them that choice.
Mm-hmm.
And so they get to decide, am I going to stay in low vibrating frequency, or am I going to like advocate for myself? Am I going to choose me? Am I going to choose my happiness? Do you know Esther? Oh, we talked about this before. Well, anyways, Esther and Jerry Hicks, they are channelers, and they wrote like the Law of Attraction, that book. You can look it up.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So when she was channeling, Abraham is the consciousness that she channels, says that one person who is connected to source, whatever you want to call that, is more powerful than millions who are not.
Wow.
Yes. One
Wow.
person connected to source is more powerful than millions who are not. Like, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
You know? So every time we connect with source, every time we come from our most authentic place, we are helping millions of people just by existing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, I have chills.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
So let's move on to you.
Okay.
So I gave you an exercise last night,
Mm-hmm.
because you brought up a topic, and we don't have to talk about what that is.
Yeah, it's up to you.
It's up to you. Yeah, it's your show.
Yeah, we talked about letting go of seeking validation from other people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that I know I struggled with, but I always knew I didn't want that to be my identity. As I was meditating on it, you know, my spirit guides were reminding me, like, hey, this isn't who you are, you know, this is just something that you've carried with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just that diving deeper into, okay, what else can I work on? What else do I need to see in order to be able to consciously make decisions and open my heart to other people? Because if there are certain blockages there, right?
Mm-hmm.
For example, for me, something that I resonate a lot with and seeking into this is my dreams. My dreams tell me like stuff that I don't want to see or stuff that I still feel, and I'm like, oh my god, in my dreams I'll be crying, like literally experiencing all my emotions, and then I wake up and I'm like, oh my god, I feel so horrible. Like, why do I have to dream about that? So going back to this, I had a dream about I think it was a person that had came back into my life. There's been a lot of, you know, little stuff that's coming up for me, and to me it's like, okay, although I may feel this in my dream, or let's say I feel it, let's say for a day, and it goes away, it's still something I do have to work on, and I acknowledge it right now. And so that's when I was like, you know what, I have to talk to Janice about this, because I don't understand yet, you know, like I understand the best that I can, and I understand it's something I need to work on, but it's always great to have another person
Of course.
give me their input, right, on like what it is that you understood from what I tell you. So
Yeah. So when you told me that last night, I told you to meditate and go through each year of your life, starting with age 1, and find within that year of year 1 pivotal moments in which you accepted the belief system that you needed external validation. And you have a list of all the years that you found had pivotal moments. So let's just for our viewers. So year 1, year 3, year 6, year 8, year 10, 12 years old, 15 years old, 16, 17, 18, 20, and 21 years old. That's a lot of times.
yeah,
You know, and you're probably just like looking at one event in that year. So imagine all the events that have happened that we're not even looking at, right? So why don't you tell our viewers how you did it so they can do it too, and what were you feeling and how did you experience it? And
okay. So I did exactly that. I ended up meditating on it. I remember just sitting down. I had my crystals, and I prior to meditating, I like to sage just to clear any
Mm-hmm.
energy. And so I was sitting there, and I remember asking my spirit guides, I'm like, spirit guides, angels, please help me understand what ages in my life were pivotal for me in order to understand how either deep rooted it goes or how frequent it happened, right? So as I was sitting there doing, because I like to do hape, so as I was sitting there with my hape in my hand, and it's like a sacred medicine that helps you, dive into deeper meditation.
Nice.
Yeah, I was sitting there and I was like saying the intention out loud, because I feel like when stuff like this, when it's very serious, I like to say it out loud,
Yes.
because I know I said it, it's
Mm-hmm.
not in my head, I said it out loud.
Mm-hmm. This is a very good exercise. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but when we say things out loud, we're basically speaking the truth, and our body hears it, our ears hear it, our peers hear it, right? And then the world hears it, because you have put that voice out, that sound out, and then the universe hears it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's really powerful when you speak something.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah, good job.
Thank you. I sat there and I was like, you know what? I'm ready. I call my spirit team my team. I'm like, team, I'm ready. I'm ready to hear this. And immediately, boom, like they did not waste any time. I was like, okay, guys. I even prefaced it. I'm like, all right, I'm going to grab my paper. I'm going to grab my pen. I'm going to write it down with my eyes closed. And then I'll rewrite it for Janice. Immediately, as I said, I'm ready. I did my hape. I started getting all these numbers, and they're like 1, 3, 6, and I'm like, whoa, okay. So I'm like writing everything down, being reminded of certain memories, right? All of that came up yesterday, and I was like thanking my spirits. I was having compassion with myself, because I'm like, well, I didn't know what I didn't know. It was very powerful to me. And then I asked them, like, spirit or team, is there anything you want to tell me? And they're like, we're so proud of you, you're doing amazing. And I was like, oh my god, thank you guys. Thank you so much.
They're very good at that.
Yes, they're very, very like motivational. You can tell that they support me in so many ways, and I'm like, wow, like I'm just grateful to be here. Like, honestly, I'm grateful to have this experience.
Yeah.
Wow, like that makes a lot of sense. It really does. I know it's not all of them, but that's pretty.
That's a lot. And what you did in that healing exercise or that meditation is you gave a safe space for little Ashley to feel those feelings again, and to acknowledge, I experienced this, and then also to bring it to consciousness, because this could have happened in your dreams, which is where you get your communication from, right? But you wouldn't have been able to, like, why am I dreaming all this again, right? And then you'd have to like dissect it and discern it. But because you did this exercise conscious, just sitting and meditating, you were able to understand what was going on. And so every memory that was important every year, you were able to bring it to consciousness and then forgive it and have compassion for it. And honestly, that is all you need to do to fix your life, to solve everything that's going on within you. Because right now, the planet is changing and it's ascending, and we are ascending with it. So what I mean by ascension is clearing out all the things that we do not need anymore. And we do not need the belief system of external validation, because we are already validated just because we exist. And that's the new thought that needs to be mainstream. So you bringing it to consciousness and then saying, I forgive you, I have compassion for you, I did nothing wrong, I'm still okay, I'm not judging myself, and then it goes. And now you're free of it. And I can already see in your face like lightness, and you're like bright, and
it's like making a discovery. You're like, oh wait, this makes so much sense. That literally is exactly what you brought to me. I'm very grateful for that. And mind you, it stopped at 21. I'm 24. So I'm like, okay.
I'm dealing with stuff. We all are, otherwise we wouldn't be here. But it gets easier and easier. Yes. So I commend you for doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah, good job.